I'm here to share with you about the market update. Exxon in talks for potential takeover of Pioneer Natural Resources. Exxon Mobil has held informal talks with Pioneer Natural Resources about a possible acquisition. Exxon has also discussed potential partnerships with at least one other company in pursuit of a blockbuster deal in shale, but the company sees Pioneer as its top target, according to reports. Shares of Pioneer Natural Resources, one of the largest U.S. shale producers, have fallen nearly 9% this year, giving them a market value of $49 billion. If a deal is reached, it may not be reached until later this year or next year. The report said shares of Exxon Mobil closed down 1.7% on Thursday, while Pioneer shares closed down 1%. Intel completely withdraws from 5G baseband business. According to U.S. media reports a few days ago, Intel plans to transfer 4G and 5G baseband technologies related to the notebook computer business to MediaTek and Fibocom. Transfer is expected to be completed by the end of May. It is worth noting that as early as July 2019, Intel has sold the 5G baseband business of mobile phones to Apple for $1 billion. This transfer also means that Intel will be completely withdrawn from the 5G baseband market in the future. As it continues to prioritize investment in its IDM 2.0 strategy, the company has made the difficult decision to exit the WWAN, wireless area network consumer business for LTE and 5G. Intel, the reporter said, it is currently working with partners and customers to facilitate a seamless transition, to support their ongoing business, and to ensure that corporate customers continue to have solutions in the field of networks, PCs, enabling the industry to provide excellent solutions to the market, and make sure they will work well on Intel-based platforms. Intel once had a great ambitions on the field of communication baseband. As early as the 3G era, Intel began to develop the baseband chip businesses. In 2007, the iPhone was born, and then the smartphone market started a cycle of rapid growth. At that time, it was the eve of 4G, and almost all giants were betting on the mobile phone business, including Intel. After targeting the mobile phone baseband business, Intel accelerated the pace of investment and wanted to fight with its biggest rival, Qualcomm, at the time. The latter made a lot of money in the 3G era due to holding the CDMA patent, and made fortune from this, becoming the world's largest mobile phone baseband chip giant. In response, in 2010, Intel spent $1.4 billion to acquire Infineon's wireless business, and invested heavily in the development and promotion of WiMAX technology, intending to compete with Qualcomm's CDMA. But this gamble ended in failure. In December 2008, the first version of 3GPP's 4G LTE standard was frozen, and it was successfully commercialized globally a year later. Since then, most of the world's mainstream mobile operators have sided with the LTE camp and have given up entering the WiMAX ecosystem. Recalling the past industry at that time, a former operator who experienced the 3 and 4G replacement in 2010 told reporters that the fierce battle in the 2G and 3G eras, operators have become very sensitive to costs. Therefore, the conservatively choose to start from the 3G era. It is undoubtedly logical to consider the LTE technology route for mature transition. It is a much safer strategy, the person said. Intel, unable to fight against the trend, had no choice but to stay silent for a while, but it did not give up. After losing its bet on WiMAX, Intel's communication baseband business also ushered in the biggest turning point. In 2016, Apple, which could not bear the high Qualcomm tax, parted ways with Qualcomm and chose to cooperate with Intel instead. From the iPhone X series to the iPhone 11 series, for 2 consecutive generations, Apple has chosen to use Intel's baseband chips. but later this proved to be a disaster. Due to the unstable signal, the iPhone has suffered complaints from users, and the actual evaluation has confirmed that the problem lies in the baseband chip. To make matters worse, Intel's 5G baseband chip, which was originally scheduled to be delivered in the second half of 2019, has also been developed overdue. This disappointed Apple, which wanted to launch 5G mobile phones as scheduled. In April 2019, Qualcomm finally reached a settlement with Apple, and the two parties re-signed a 6-year cooperation agreement. On the same day, Intel announced that it will abandon the research and development of mobile phone baseband chips. Not long after, Apple announced that it will acquire most of Intel's mobile phone baseband chip business for $1 billion. And then, Intel's mobile phone 5G business has officially entered history. In fact, after the failure of WiMAX, everything that happened later was almost doomed. Zhou Guixin told reporters that Intel may also want to use CDMA technology at first, but it has no patents and can only bet on another. But the ecological effect in the communication field is too important. Intel, if you used to gamble, you can only bear the risk of losing. Strategic contraction. After giving up the mobile phone baseband business, the PC baseband business also quickly became a bad taste and was abandoned by Intel. The reason, industry insiders believe, is because of cost considerations at one hand. Strategic contraction in the down cycle of the industry on the other hand. Compared with mobile phones, the baseband chip market for notebooks is very small, and the technical difficulty is much smaller, so it is very volume. Semiconductor analyst Jiwei told reporters that after giving up the mobile phone baseband business, it still retains the research and development of the PC baseband business. For Intel, the profit and cost ratio is not cost-effective, especially in the case of Intel's finance performance red light. Financial report information shows that in the past fiscal year 2022, Intel's annual revenue was only $63.1 billion, a 20% decrease from the $79 billion in 2021, and its net profit was $8.014 billion, a decrease of 60% from $19.87 billion in 2021. Against this background, Intel has also launched a cost control measure of opening up resources of income and reducing expenditure. After announcing that at the beginning of 2023 that it would reduce salaries of managers and executives, including the CEO, to substantially cut costs, Intel has also undergoing a substantial layoffs and business cuts. According to public information, in addition to shutting down laboratory with planned investment of $700 million, Intel also terminated a $200 million R&D center project in Israel. At the financial report briefing, Intel's current CEO, Pat Kissinger, made it clear that this year it is expected to cut costs by $3 billion, and layoffs in business costs will continue. And the cutoff of the PC baseband business seems to have early signs. According to Gartner's data, global PC shipments will continue to fall in 2022. Among the shipments in the fourth quarter fell by nearly 29% year-on-year, the largest quarterly decline since the mid-1990s. Under the big downward cycle, Intel has also accelerated the pace of adjustment. The sale for the 5G baseband business for notebook computers this time is another expected development strategy after the sale of the 5G baseband business for smartphones to Apple in 2019. Elvis Su, general manager at the semiconductor division of CINNO Research, told reporters that Kissinger, after proposing the IDM 2.0 strategy in 2021, the main business will focus on promising wafer, foundry, and core CPU process business, such as data center and server. Intel's strategy is constantly adjusted, mainly to return differentiated technologies with unique competitive advantages in order to maintain profitability. It is worth noting that MediaTek and Fibocom, which took over Intel's PC baseband business this time, have business relationships with Intel. According to among them, as early as 2021, Intel cooperated with MediaTek to develop a 5G solution for PCs based on MediaTek's 5G baseband. At the same time, Intel was also the third largest shareholder of Fibocom, the latter of first 5G ITO-based communication module. The product is equipped with Intel products. 5G hope still exists. Although it withdrew from the 5G baseband business, Intel did not give up on 5G. At the 2023 World Mobile Communication Conference held last month, Intel released the fourth generation Intel Xeon scalable processor with integrated VRAM boost, greatly improved 5G network performance. In addition, Intel has also collaborated with SK Telecom to develop the Intel Infrastructure Power Manager reference software for the 5G core network, which reduces the average power consumption by the CPU by 30% while it is running. Intel said that for more than a decade, the company has been promoting global network virtualization from the core network to the radio access network, RAN to the edge. That is, transferring the network from fixed function hardware to a programmable software-defined platform. In terms of network agility, complexity, and cost are reduced. Open networks and virtualization have always been Intel's long-term goals in the 5G field. Intel's understanding of future networks has always been at the forefront. Therefore, Intel's long-term R&D focus has been on establishing network devices based on x86 general-purpose chips in terms of software from this dimension. Intel's 5G business has been continuing, and the sale of the baseband business this time will not affect Intel's goal. Although the 5G baseband-related business of notebook computers and mobile phones has been stopped, Intel still cooperates with MediaTek to provide 5G baseband-based solutions in the CPU, which will not affect Intel's network connections, such as Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, Ethernet, or network edge computing, etc. businesses. The market research report shows that, starting 2024, at least 30% of global data will be calculated and processed at the edge of the network. Therefore, Intel's VRAM technology will become more important in the future development of 5G. In addition, Alvis Hu pointed out that Intel also attaches great importance to the Internet of Vehicles chip business, strengthening 5G and future 6G related application field on the network. It also invests a lot of money in advanced and manufacturing processes and advanced packaging technologies to expand production capacity, accelerate research and development to maintain its leading position. After Intel withdrew from the 5G baseband business, Qualcomm's market position will be further stabilized, Jiwei said. But in the long run, Intel's competition with Qualcomm in 5G semiconductors will continue, and this competition may be in other markets. Dimensions unfold, and that is what the industry will focus in the future. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe and like the next episode.